All right, day 9, I think, of working on this thing. Took a bit of a break. I was away for a couple weeks on vacation, and I was doing a lot of scuba diving around here. Um, anyway, we got back at it yesterday and put up some of the backer board. It got off to a slow start. First we had to, get everything set up. There's special blades for the saws to cut this stuff. And there's a couple tricky things like this housing for the water hookups has tabs that allow it to be mounted to the boards. So I just got like a cutting wheel, and you can kind of see I put marks on it there. That's about where the tabs are. So on the back side, I just use my cutting wheel and just kind of ground it out a little bit to make it allow the backer board to sit flush up against without pushing against the tabs for that. So that was a little bit of a pain in the butt. Also, this stuff cracks really easy. I cracked it over here putting one in. I don't know if you can see that. Barely. That's not going to be a big deal because I'm going to tape that seam and cover it up anyway, so you'll never see that. But I pre-drilled everything with this little drill bit, and then I drilled little recessed holes to allow them to sit flush. Again, you probably don't need to do all that. I just did it because I didn't want to crack all this stuff, and I didn't feel like cutting these pieces twice. It was really cold yesterday. It was like 5 degrees outside or something like that while I was cutting these boards, so that wasn't helping with the whole cracking issue. I was bringing them right in and zipping them on. Anyway, I stopped at this point yesterday, and I didn't secure this. I just put one in there to hold it in place for now because I'm trying to figure out the niche situation. I believe I'm going to leave this back wall, or the wall with the shower panel on it, solid with no niches. And then I think I'm going to put one here, a big square niche for shampoo and stuff like that. And then also one here. And I believe on this side, I'll probably just get like tiles or something, hooks that I can screw into the tile so I can hang loofahs or whatever. So yeah, that'll be what I do the next day. I'll finish putting up all the backer board. And then once the backer board is completed, I'll move on to sealing everything. So this backer board is Hardiebacker Hydrodefence. It's a little more expensive than everything else out there, but it's supposed to be fully waterproof. So normally you have to put some kind of like paint over your backer board, sealing membrane, if you will, and because it's porous. So normal like backer board's just concrete. Concrete's porous, so water gets to it. It seeps through your grout or whatever happens, and then it'll seep through the backer board and into your wall and cause mold issues, etc. So yeah, you normally use like a Hydrodefence or a Hydroban. It's like a paint on material, and with this stuff you don't have to paint everything. All you have to do is paint over all the screw holes or anywhere that you actually punctured through. So obviously the seams. So I tried to minimize my seams, and on the bench here I put a 3/4 inch piece of plywood on top first, just to add to the rigidity and strength. So if someone comes and jumps on this thing now, it's never gonna move at all. It's not gonna flex on the inside and crack or anything like that. It's not gonna have any issues with the tile. So another thing that I was pretty happy with what worked out, oh, I'm dropping stuff, is over here. When we built this curb, we tried to guesstimate it to line up with this backer board, and I wasn't exactly sure on the thickness of the backer board. I thought it was about 1/2 inch. Turns out it's a little less. It's like 7/16 or something like that. Kind of dumb, but anyway, this worked out all right. It's not perfectly flush, but it's close enough that we can put the tile on here, and it'll line right up. You'll never even notice that that wasn't flush. We'll just have to add a little extra thin set on this side to build it up and make it level. But that won't be a big deal at all. I don't think. It's maybe 1/8 of an inch off. So like I said, we'll just, add an extra 1/8 inch of thin set. Sounds like a lot, but it'll be unnoticeable at the end, and it'll look, perfectly flush and streamlined down there. Other than that, it's moving along pretty well. I just used this little paint stir as my 1/4 inch spacer, because you're supposed to have a 1/4 inch below all this stuff. You don't want it sitting directly onto the floor. And yeah, that's that. I'll keep you updated next time after I put on the rest of this backer board, and probably I'll put on the Hydrodefence stuff, a Hydroband or whatever it's called, the paint, and then yeah, I'll give you guys another update. One other thing I wanted to note, I forgot to mention, is that when you're doing something like this, where you're gonna have one piece that sits on top of the other, you want the top piece overlapping the bottom piece. So that way, if any water comes, it will kind of run down, especially once I tape up this seam, as opposed to if the side was up to the top, water could potentially get into the end and drip down. The same thing for the tile. So when I put the tile on here, I'm gonna have the top piece overlap and hang on top, and the bottom piece will be, underneath it like that. So you can see what I mean there. I imagine you could potentially run into water issues if you don't do it that way. Although everything's going to be sealed up, so I'm not sure it's, really crucial, but everything I've read said to do it that way. So that's definitely the way I'm going to do it, and the way I would suggest doing it if anyone else is going to give something like this a try.